Hi, I'm Tony Thornton with the Oklahoman. I'm sitting here with Linda Rogers, who is a teacher in the Middale School District, and we're here today because Linda's aunt is an Alzheimer's patient whose personal savings, virtually her life savings, were plundered by the manager of a Wagoner bank. Today, the manager of that Wagoner bank was sentenced in federal court in Muskogee to 14 years in prison. Unfortunately, Linda's aunt is among the few victims in that case who has not really been compensated for their loss. They have not been reimbursed, and the chances of reimbursement are not really good. Linda, could you kind of go over with us how this all came about, how you found out about it, and what exactly your aunt went through?
Well, my aunt was widowed at age 81 about 8 years ago, and my aunt, unlike you and I, she had no financial experience whatsoever. She had never written a check. She'd never paid a bill. She didn't even have a driver's license. So when she found herself widowed in Wagoner, she sought help at her local bank. Rhonda Harris offered to help her with her finances. But what happened was that Rhonda soon became a trusted friend. Rhonda treated my aunt just like she was in her own family, bringing her gifts and gaining her trust, becoming her most closest confidant. And about 8 years later, we got a call from DHS telling us that our aunt, all of her accounts were gone. And we had found out also that Rhonda had sold her home. She had disposed of all her personal contents, pictures, her treasured doll collection, things that were very meaningful to my aunt. So my family had no idea any of this had happened. We were just aghast that something like this could happen, and that Rhonda had been allowed by Arvis to break every rule in management.
And as power of attorney, she would have basically had the ability to sell your aunt's house and to plunder her accounts.
And this never should have happened. Arvis should never have allowed this to happen. Initially, Arvis said that they would take responsibility for all of their customers. They have not. The agents told us that we should not expect any restitution from Rhonda's estate. So my aunt had over $400,000 taken by Rhonda.
Wow.
And today, my aunt, she is 89. She is in frail health. As you mentioned, she has Alzheimer's, and she's a ward of the state. Rhonda took everything from her.
Now, you mentioned she had a net worth of about $400,000.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How much of that was in the accounts that she had there at the bank?
Well, all of it, with the exception of her home, which was appraised and sold at $75,000. The contents of her home, which I don't think was of a lot of value. It was mostly personal things that she treasured.
Okay.
So all of the rest of it was in CDs and her accounts. Yes.
And the bank did not make restitution?
No, they did not.
Okay.
No.
The difference is with most of the victims that we heard about today at the sentencing, Arvest made up the money that Ms. Harris had stolen because it was easy, or maybe not easy, but they were able to trace through audits the money that she had taken from money market accounts. But it sounds like from what you're saying in that case...
they were able, though the agents gave me a very good breakdown of what my aunt had and what she had in her savings and her checking accounts, what she had in CDs, and also there were a number of cashier's checks that Rhonda had written on my aunt. So they had the breakdown.
Okay.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Arvis just is refusing to pay.
On what grounds?
Well, they say that it's under the power of attorney issue, which again, Rhonda as a bank employee, this goes against all the rules. She never should have been given that position.
Okay. So the punishment that Ms. Harris got today, 14 years, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, we are happy about that because that's what I would have asked today, is for the maximum appropriate sentence, because she took so much from so many people.
What's the lesson from this in your mind?
Well, I believe the lesson is that I think many of us, we put trust in institutions, we put them in people, and those things could always fail us. And I think in light of the headlines in our news over the nation today with the banking issue, we don't want to put our trust. We always have to be aware that man can fail us, and oftentimes does.
Linda, thank you very much. We'll have more on this story in the on News OK and also in the Wednesday edition of the Oklahoman.